Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Yesterday was a pretty busy Sunday. I know for a lot of you guys, there's a lot of different events going on, which is one of the main reasons that I didn't go live. I also uploaded a video before earlier Sunday morning, but I would love to still break down the top 10 stocks that you guys all see value in. And it looks like a lot of you guys are already sharing the ticker call out or just the stock itself that you guys would like me to break down. So let's go ahead and just get right to it. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time this Monday. Quick little update. AMC is doing really well. It is very overbought, very overextended. If we look at it on the 5-minute time frame, you guys just can see that based off of the RSI and the MACD. I've already loaded off on a lot of my shares. I had over 1,500 shares of AMC, and I reduced it down to 350. Of course, if it continues to go up, I want to be able to partake in that, but it pushed up so much that it wouldn't be much of a surprise if it pulls on back, so I'm just taking risk management into consideration. At the end of the day, if you want to continue to hold all power to you. But when it comes down to, you're more of a trader, and if you want to lock in profits at these overbought levels, understand the overall direction of AMC and understand that more often than not, it tends to sell off than it does actually hold at those overbought levels. So let's go ahead and get right to it. If you guys can, please make sure that you guys do share the stock in the ticker call out format, and we can go from there. So let's go ahead and start off with MRNA from Brad. So this is Moderna. When we can go on the 4-hour time frame on the day chart, one of the things that I really like to focus on is just overall direction. And we can see that with MRNA, it has been more bullish than it has been bearish, meaning that this thing is consistently going up over time. It has recently pulled on back, and it looks like it has a support level right around 350 a share and a very common resistance level right around 400 to 415. So a lot of consolidation going on. So it's not as bullish as it was before, but it's definitely still not selling off. We're not making lower lows, lower highs. We're still trading above the SMA line, but again, it doesn't mean that it always has to, right? So we can set our alert down there. If it breaks below the SMA line, then guess what? We don't have to trade it anymore, or we can remove it from our watch list. But if it actually begins to indicate signs of a recovery, I'd love to follow up with it. So let's go ahead and set that alert for the break above 415. So I put mine right around 417. And if it actually begins to indicate signs of a reversal and indicates signs of an uptrend, then yeah, potentially following up with it. I'm sure that it has quite some upside just based off of previous patterns. Has a little bit over 20%, and that's even after waiting for confirmation. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So again, I'm just going to be going down the list. So if I skip yours or overlook yours, you guys can just continue to post it in here. And make sure that you guys can see the live stream okay. If the quality of the live stream looks a little odd, just refresh your page and you should be able to reload it. And it should be able to go to like some form of 720 or 1080p. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We're going to go to NIO. I did hear about NIO this morning. So NIO was pulling on back. Let's see if it's still selling off. So this is when it's super important to understand the overall direction. NIO was bullish. It hit highs of $54 a share, and it's been selling off ever since. So something that's oversold, meaning that it's cheap, does not mean that it's a good buy, right? We've said this so many times, but the reason I say it so many times is because I know a lot of beginners watch these videos, and I've made that mistake so many times, right? Where you buy the dip just because it's cheap, but it still continues to sell off. Direction and confirmation are so important, and they're crucial when it comes down to trading something that has just recently been selling off, right? You could see that NIO was selling off. It found a support level. It tried to pick up, found a resistance level, and then sold right back off. So it is so important to understand these overbought and oversold levels and the overall direction. As right now, NIO is cheap, but cheap does not mean that it has to recover right away. So if you do decide to buy the dip, do it with a position size in which you can tolerate, meaning that don't buy the dip if you can't tolerate it continuing to sell off, right? It's as simple as that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We have Kyle with the ticker call out format. I have to break yours down. So yours is SPOT, which is Spotify. Spotify is one that's been in my watch list for some time, and it's been recovering. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to it. There's 2 stocks in my watch list that I've been closely following up with as of today, and it was actually brought up within our live stream today during our live trading session with our Learn Plan Profit group. The first one is Spotify. The second one is Fiverr. That's also indicating signs of a reversal. Spotify has been selling off, making lower lows and lower highs ever since its peak at 284, right? and it hit lows of $200. We've been watching this very carefully, but now we're actually trading above the EMA line, and we're approaching the SMA line. This is a critical point because last time, you guys see this, we got rejected by the SMA line and we sold right off. So although we have been indicating signs of an uptrend, and even though I'm invested in it, I'm never here to encourage you to buy something or hold something just because it's in my benefit. I don't care, right? At the end of the day, do what's best for your future self. And as of right now, there's a potential resistance level at the SMA line. I would wait for the break above the EMA, wait for the break above the SMA before even considering the idea of buying in right now, right? There's no reason you should buy in right now if it gets rejected, right? If the SMA line acts as a resistance level, if it gets rejected and then breaks below the EMA line, we're going to head right back down to $200 a share. So instead of just forcing an entry blindly, like you didn't buy the dip when I did, right? So this doesn't benefit you. This was what has benefited us because we were able to get it at a better deal and it's been able to recover. But now we're at a point where it's a critical point where we either are going to trade above the SMA line and begin to recover and or break below. And if it breaks below, this is definitely not something that you want to partake in. So just set your alerts. Set your alerts, allow the opportunity to present itself, and I'm excited to follow up with it. So, but again, if it gets rejected, watch for the break below the EMA line, and then watch for the potential drop back down to $200 a share. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got SPRT. What's going on, Tyler? SPRT, I appreciate you tuning on in. Hope that you're having an amazing Monday. Okay, so this looks like a little bit more of a pump and dump, and you can tell right away it's up 40%. I'm not the biggest fan of these, right? These don't last a very long period of time. They pump up, and it's great if you partake and we're able to take advantage of it at the very cheap levels. But looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, it looks like the momentum's already beginning to die out. On the 1 day, 1 minute time frame, a lot of consolidation. This is when it begins to become very risky, when direction is not as clear. It doesn't mean that it can't recover. It just means that this is where, more often than not, things begin to crash. And because you bought at such a high level, you tend to bag hold. If you're someone that's just getting started, if you're an absolute beginner, if you're not the best at risk management and locking in profits, I would completely stay away from this. If you're someone that's very well structured, very well disciplined, you can tolerate quick moves, then all power to you. Just know that I view this thing to be a little bit more on the overbought side, meaning no longer a good deal. And the direction, it's beginning to slow down. You can see that exactly with the RSI. You can see that with the descending MACD. It's losing its momentum. It doesn't mean that it can't continue to recover. It just means that it becomes very, very risky when it's not a very active play anymore, right? This is where you really begin to get into the, back and forths where it can sell off 10%, recover 10%, and this is where the emotional roller coaster really begins. So, yeah, I personally don't trade stocks like that. I would personally just stay away. But if you want to, and that's what you can tolerate, then all power to you. So let's go ahead and break down AMD. What's going on, Noah? Hope that I earn your thumbs up. Let's go ahead and break down AMD. AMD is up 1.3% on the day. The thing that I love about AMD, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree, is that it's bullish, meaning that it's increasing in value over time. It's consistent. It validates the SMA line, right? These overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought levels, and that it does pull on back. I love pullbacks. Everyone should love pullbacks. It doesn't matter if you're an investor or a trader. Pullbacks gives you an opportunity on a bullish stock more often than not, right? To be able to buy more and ride the recovery. Buy more and ride the recovery, right? So it's really good to understand how a stock trades, looking at the overall direction. And yes, it's bullish as of right now. Do I view it to be the best deal? Definitely not. Looking at the RSI, looking at the MACD, very overbought. But based off previous highs, yeah, we can easily, continue to uptrend. But I would look into this. If I'm not mistaken, when AMD pushed up to these highs, it's because it reported earnings. And that acted as a positive catalyst that was short-lived. It sold off, corrected itself, and then now it's riding back the recovery, right? So let's understand what has caused these specific stocks to push or drop within a very short period of time. But I think that you're doing a great job focusing and paying attention to stocks that are bullish, quality companies, and AMD has been a company that's been really taking over in comparison to its competitor, something like Intel, right, which has kind of been dying out. So congrats on that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is going to be ticker symbol WISH. So ticker symbol WISH. WISH was very oversold. So I'm going to have it broken down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're going to do 4 more after this. So make sure that if you want me to break down your stock, you share it in the live chat. But WISH as of right now is very oversold, very cheap. Cheap does not mean a good buy right now, right? Looking at the day chart, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. Is this the way that you want your portfolio to look? No, right? You don't want your portfolio to be selling off over time. And it doesn't mean that it can't recover, right? So the biggest thing is like put your money in areas in which you see value. And as of right now, asking the simple question, is WISH bullish or bearish? And it's very easy to see that it's bearish, right? It sells off, and yeah, it is oversold. You know, it could see a potential recovery. You just have to be so careful with these, because when they drop like there's no tomorrow, right? And yeah, when they push, they could recover very quickly, but it's a short-term trade. It's a quick in, it's a quick out, locking in profits and moving on, right? This thing sells off over time, the direction's not in your favor, and it's a higher risk play. So if you don't deal well with that, then please understand, when it is that it makes sense to, hold off. So, all right, let's go ahead and break down Uber. Alrighty, so Uber on the 4-hour time frame, selling off over time. This is actually quite surprising. So let's look at this on the day chart. I would have thought that it was a little bit different, but yeah, no. Looks like this thing peaked during, what is that, February, May, right? A lot of consolidation up here, and it's been selling off over time. This is a perfect example that just because a stock is oversold does not mean that it's a good buy. Yeah, it might recover for a little bit, but if that overall direction is still bearish, this is why it's so important to understand true direction. So Uber is a cheap stock right now based off previous patterns. If we look at where it's at right now to previous highs, 58%, nearly 60%. We all know about Uber, right? 60%, but guess what? It's still trading below the EMA line. It's still making lower highs and lower lows. So I love this stock in the sense of I would love to see this thing recover, but I'm also not going to blindly buy the dip on something that's selling off over time and hope that it does recover. I can just set an alert, add it to my watch list, and follow up with it when it makes sense. It's the simple things in life that people tend to overcomplicate. Allow this thing not to be an exception, right? So I'm also going to set an alert for the break below, right? I want to be alert on its overall direction. Is Uber selling off or is Uber pushing up? That's what I want to stay up to date with. So thank you for that call out. Okay, so it looks like we have some kids here. All right, so we got SQQQ. Yeah, so SQQQ is still selling off. One of the things that I did want to share with you guys is I still have my position on SQQQ. I have my 1,000 shares. So one of the things that I said in that video when I decided to buy SQQQ at 761, I think it was, I decided to buy 1,000 shares of SQQQ, which is about $7,000. And the reason I did that is because, yes, it was oversold. And I knew that when I did buy the dip, one of the things that I said in that video is I'm buying the dip with the idea that SQQQ can still continue to sell off. And I'm very glad that I only bought 1,000 shares, because to me, with those 1,000 shares, yeah, it's $7,000. And I get that. That's a lot of money. But I normally trade SQQQ or TQQQ with $100,000. So you can see that if you normally trade with $1,000, that's like you going in with less than $100 in SQQQ. And although it might be down 5% from when I bought it, it's like I did it with a position size in which I can tolerate. When you do something, make sure that you have a proper intention behind it. And it doesn't mean that that trade has to be perfect all the time, because that's definitely not the case. Let's not pretend like we're perfect traders, but that you do your part in managing and mitigating risk and setting your future self up for success. So would I buy the dip right now on SQQQ for all of you guys? Definitely not, right? It's still selling off. It's still bearish. And one of the things that you guys know about me is that I would rather encourage you guys to be more conservative and wait for the actual reversal than to buy the dip, and it's still sell off, right? A lot of you guys are still under the PDT rule, so save your day trades. Learn to be selective, and if you can't tolerate pullbacks, then don't buy the dip early. It's that simple, right? Just because I did it does not mean that you should. Yeah, your laptop is at 14% charge. Yeah, my charger's not here, so I'm going to have to rush through the next 3 stocks. But let's go ahead. Actually, I'm really glad that you brought that stock up. Zoom. Doesn't Zoom report earnings today? So that's ticker symbol ZM, right? It's up 4%. If I'm not mistaken, Zoom reports earnings after market hours today, right? Yeah. Very oversold based off previous patterns. A lot of upside potential. Zoom peaked during pandemic conditions. Look at that, right? It did very, very well during pandemic conditions. But as of right now, it has recently sold off. A lot of consolidation. Definitely a lot of upside. But I'm excited to follow up with it. I don't like holding stocks during earnings, so therefore I'm going to wait till after earnings and see if it causes the stock to go up or if it drops even more. Looking at it on the day chart, just so we can get a bigger picture of its overall direction, just so you guys could see, we peaked during pandemic conditions, right? This is Zoom, and this is towards the end of 2020. We peaked, and we've been selling off ever since. Demand levels, right, with at home, just business calls, meetings, all that stuff that Zoom offers, demand was super high. Ever since then, they've been struggling to keep up or outweigh that demand, right? So yes, it's cheap. Cheap does not mean it's a good deal. It can still sell off, but definitely a stock worth paying attention to, especially today. I don't get these comments. After making that video that I made yesterday, of people saying something about like my girlfriend, that like this is a perfect example. So Dylan, I appreciate you sharing that, just to showcase how childish some people are on YouTube. It's like, you know, I did my part in putting myself in this position where I do well in life, right? Imagine living a life where I'm afraid to pursue any relationship because I think that I'm going to get taken advantage of, right? It's so mind-boggling. It's like, that's not how I want to live life. I just know that I have to be selective and to spend time with people that I value. And I can promise you, it's not going to be with people like De Silva or whatever that person's name is. It's just so mind-boggling that people are so closed-minded, so narrow-minded. I appreciate, I mean, I kind of take it as a compliment because you guys are trying to look out for me, but it's like, you really think saying something offensive about my girlfriend is going to make me feel good? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. So why aren't you trading AMC right now? I actually am. So where's AMC at right now? Yeah, up 9% on the day. Wow, yeah, I'm up $3,500. So $3,400, my apologies. So I've sold most of my position. But yeah, I'm up 3,400. So yeah, I'm still trading it. I have a position on it with my Fidelity account, and I'm up over $15,000. So yeah, I'm definitely trading it. But thank you for asking. All right, let's go ahead and break down one more stock. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Boston, I appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and do OSTK. I love it. We posted it in the ticker call out format. I appreciate that. OSTK. So we are at 9% for my battery. Good thing that it's almost over. So one of the first things that you should be able to see right away is that OSTK, which is Overstock.com, has pretty low volume in comparison to a lot of these other, blue chip stocks. Yes, it was bullish. It hit highs of 102. It sold off and now trading below the SMA line. I would be very, very careful with this. You buying into this early, meaning before the SMA line. Again, I have my alerts already set. I've been paying attention to OSTK. I'd love to see a recovery, but we have a lot to prove, man. So I have my alerts here. Once it actually begins to indicate signs of a reversal, all I ever want to remind you is that, it still has a lot of margin. It has over 30% margin. once it breaks above EMA. So you don't have to blindly buy the dip. You don't have to buy in early to make a decent return. So that should only encourage you to be selective, set those effective alerts, and if we do begin to trade above the SMA line and actually begin to indicate signs of recovery, then great. I would just hate for you to buy right now. It pushes up, gets rejected by the SMA, and then drops right back down to $66 a share. And then you have to cut losses. And it's a discouraging trade. Learn to be selective. Timing is everything. And just set those effective alerts. And if you see value in the stock, let's add it to your watch list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And, okay, I'll do this one. So CFMS. Just trying to look out for you, G. No, Dylan, and that's what I took it as, right? I know that that's probably your intention, Dylan. I don't personally know you. Yeah, and again, that's why I said what I said, right? Where I know that you're probably trying to look out for me, but it's just like, you don't, like, just imagine me trying to look out for you and then me saying something negative about someone that you care about, right? It's not going to make you feel good. It's like a backhanded compliment. I'd appreciate it if you respect my relationship, as, I never go out of my way to try to disrespect anyone. And if you ever have anything that you personally want to share with me, especially if you're part of LPP, direct message me. I love that. But please be mindful of my opinion and my relationship and my values. So CFMS, very bullish, very consistent. I can see why you're paying attention to it, right? It's very easy to see these overbought levels, oversold, overbought, oversold, and we're approaching these overbought levels. It's bullish right now, so I could see there to be a breakout above from 150 to 172. I don't personally like how low of a cap stock it is. It's too cheap for me. It's not something that I would personally trade, but I can see why you're paying attention to it. I like that the overall direction is at least more bullish, but again, you need to watch your position size with these risky, volatile stocks, and you need to know when to lock in profits. You can't be afraid to lock in profits with risky plays like this. So it's good to understand the oversold levels, and it's very good to understand the overbought levels. Right now, it's kind of an in-between. If you're in it already, then great. If you're not already in it, I would almost say that it's too late, just based off of the potential of it being able to pull on back. So, yeah, I'm excited to follow up with it, and let's take it as that. But that is really just it for today. It looks like we're at 5% when it comes down to my battery. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you guys, maybe you saw value in one of the 10 stocks or 11 stocks that we broke down today. The last thing that I want to share with you guys is talking about AMC, right? A lot of you guys know that I've been trading it. I've been strictly focusing on day trading it. I'm not here to encourage you to day trade it. I'm not here to encourage you to hold it. I don't care if you're part of the movement. I don't care if you're not part of the movement. All I like to focus on is implementing structure, discipline, and having a plan, right? And that's for all of you guys. If you're an absolute beginner, if you're just getting started, please, 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 however it is that you choose to trade this or take advantage of it, just pay attention to the overall direction. AMC is more bearish, meaning that it sells off more than it is bullish. When it's bullish, it's great. But for the past couple of months, just looking at previous patterns, it pushes up and it pulls right on back. It pushes up, it pulls right on back. We are now trading above the SMA line, which is great, but we can't be surprised, again, if it pulls on back. So looks like my computer might be freezing here. But all I want to encourage you guys is to have a plan, implement structure, and if you're trading it, to never be afraid to lock in profits, right? If that was your original plan to lock in profits, understand when it's okay to reduce position size and or lock in profits. If you're holding it and it's part of the movement for you, I wish you nothing but the best. Absolutely. I hope that it goes to 100 or 1,000 shares or 100,000 shares, $100,000 per share, whatever your plan is. I hope it plays out like that, but more often than not, just based off how it's been trading, it's never a bad idea to lock in profits if that was your original plan. So I wish you guys nothing but the best. I hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. I would love for you guys to join us for our live trading session. We had an amazing live trading session today. And even before you sign up, right? You guys know that I have the Learn Plan Profit group. They're the team that I work with every single day exclusively. They get to watch me trade live every day, even before you sign up, right? Even before the second link down below to learn more about it. If you want to watch the live trading from today, so you can get a taste of what it's like, message me on Discord or message me on Instagram. Ask for the live trading from today and ask yourself, when you watch that live trading, be like, hey, is this something that I want to be a part of and watch every day? If it is, great. And if it's not, then guess what? Then great. You don't have to, right? There's my videos on YouTube that you're more than welcome to check out. But I know based off of what it is that we cover every single morning, our structure, our discipline, the thought process that we show within these live trading sessions, you guys know more than anyone that real-time value and being able to watch someone trade both in the good and the bad can be very useful. So again, do not be afraid to message me via Discord or via Instagram. Please message me via Discord if you can. You guys, again, to join is the first link in the description is our free Facebook group, and then you get access to our Discord chat. I respond more to people via Discord than I do via Instagram. But yeah, I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that I earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note.